Hey, welcome to another episode of Miss Erica's Crazy Costume Catastrophe. Go get your mommy and dad because we are going to learn all about Lazarus. First, we're going to look at our Big Bible timeline and some maps about where Jesus is. So, for weeks, we have been looking at Jesus being up in the region of Galilee, which is on the top of this map. So why is Jesus in Galilee? Well, actually, he was in Jerusalem a while ago. The last time he was in Jerusalem, people tried to kill him. And so Jesus actually left Jerusalem. He went back up into Galilee. Galilee was more of like the country. It was more rural. And that's where he's been for a while. And that's where we have been camped out for weeks and weeks, exploring what Jesus was doing up in Galilee. But now on our Big Bible timeline, we're getting to the part of the last few weeks of Jesus' life. Jesus is going to head to Jerusalem today, and we're going to explore why he does that. This week, we're exploring John 11. Be sure to read all of John 11 with your mom and dad. The book of John is all about how Jesus brings new life, and the story we're looking at today definitely highlights that. In John 11, we learn about three of Jesus' friends. It was a brother and two sisters. Their names were Lazarus, Mary, and Martha. Lazarus was the brother. Now, Lazarus and Mary and Martha lived in a little town called Bethany. It was basically like the suburbs of Jerusalem. It was right outside of the city of Jerusalem. And that's where they lived. But Lazarus gets really sick. Now, remember, Jesus is still up north in Galilee, and Mary and Martha send a message to Jesus. They say, Jesus, you need to come quick because our brother Lazarus is really sick. Now remember, these are Jesus's really good friends. They have seen Jesus do miracles and seen him do ministry. They know how powerful he is. And so they know if he comes that Jesus could heal their brother because they believe in him. And so they tell Jesus in their message, please, please come. You need to come heal Lazarus because he's sick and they're worried about him. So Jesus gets this message. He's up in the north in Galilee, but he decides to wait for 2 days. So while Jesus is waiting in Galilee, Lazarus actually gets even more sick and he dies. And then after he dies, Jesus tells his friends, okay, come on, let's go. We have to go to Jerusalem. And his disciples know what that means. They know the last time they were in Jerusalem, Jesus almost died. And so they remind Jesus, they're like, Jesus, remember, if we go to Jerusalem, there are people there who want to kill you. I don't think that's a very good idea. But Jesus knows what he needs to do. And so he says, come on, let's go. And even Thomas, who's one of Jesus's disciples, is like, okay, let's go. I guess we're going to die too. So everyone knows what Jesus going to Jerusalem will mean. When Jesus gets there, he talks to Mary and Martha. And both of Lazarus' sisters are really angry and sad. They both feel like if Jesus had gotten there sooner, their brother wouldn't have died. And Jesus even cries with them, which is a cool part of the story because he knows what he's going to do next, but he still cries with them because he's sad and he feels their pain and he wants to mourn with them. So then Jesus goes with them to the tomb where Lazarus is buried. My daughter Olivia is going to read for us from the next few verses so we can see what happens next. And she made a stop motion video with Legos so we can see what's going on too.
Then Jesus, deeply moved again, came to the tomb. It was a cave. A stone laid against it. Jesus said, take away the stone. Martha, the sister of the dead man, said to him, Lord, by this time there will be an odor, for he has been dead for 4 days. Jesus said to her, did I not tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God? So they took away the stone. Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I said this on the account of the people standing around, that he may believe that you sent me out. When he had said these things, he cried out with a loud voice, Lazarus, come out. The man who had died came out, his hands and feet bound with linen strips, and his face unwrapped with a cloth. Jesus said to him, unbind him and let him go.
Isn't that a cool story? Jesus brings Lazarus back to life. Lazarus has been dead and in that tomb buried for 4 days. But when Jesus says, "Lazarus, come out," Lazarus comes back to life. And he comes out of the tomb looking a lot like me, wrapped in strips of linen and cloth. Jesus knows that coming back to Jerusalem will mean he will die. Actually, in John 10 and 11, Jesus dying is brought up by Jesus and the people trying to kill him 13 times. Everyone knows what's going to happen. Actually, there's a lot of people who are at Lazarus' funeral who've walked from Jerusalem, and when Jesus raises Lazarus from the dead, they run back to the city to tell the Pharisees what Jesus has done. But Jesus loves his friend Lazarus, and so he goes to Jerusalem to bring new life to Lazarus, even though he knows it will mean he will die. Jesus came to die so his friend could live. And Jesus does the same thing with us too. Jesus knew that when he came to earth, that the Jewish leaders wouldn't accept him as the Messiah and they would kill him. There's so many times in the Old Testament where for hundreds of years, the prophets have been declaring and prophesying that God would have to come and die for his people. So Jesus knows what would happen. But he loves you and me so much that he came to die anyways. Jesus came to die so that we could live. This week, I want to invite you to take some time all by yourself and just tell Jesus, "Thank you for dying for me." Jesus didn't have to do that. Jesus didn't have to go to Jerusalem and bring Lazarus back from the dead. He knew it would mean his death. And Jesus didn't have to come to earth and die on the cross. He knew that would mean his death, but he also knew it would mean new life for you and me. And so spend some time this week just talking to Jesus in your own words and telling him, "Thank you for dying for me. Thank you for coming and living and dying on the cross so that I could experience your new life." All right, guys, it's been so fun hanging out with you. Thanks for watching another episode of Miss Erica's Crazy Costume Catastrophe. All right, guys, don't forget, Sunday, 10:30 a.m., another family large group. I've been having so much fun with you guys. Make sure you read John 11 with your mom and dad at some point before Sunday. All right, guys, I'll see you there. Bye.